This is a kind of a common layout. You can see the vault here, all the manifolds. I'll point out also at this point, we will always design in an auxiliary filter system, like a regular swimming pool filter, on our systems. And the reason for that is so that we have a way and an easy means to vacuum and clean the pool. You'll notice that we have a vacuum line that's plumbed in here. And when we can put a robotic cleaner in the pool, that robotic cleaner, like a Roomba, can roam around and vacuum and sweep and scrub, and in the same time, it's expelling the material that it's vacuuming, scrubbing off the pool. And in this case, we would orient the valve so that all that material is ended up in the filter. It makes it a lot easier to clean that filter. In this case, it's clean just like a regular old backwash system on a sand filter. We do use glass media that's a little bit more larger surface area, lasts longer, less maintenance. But that's a standard setup for us. In most cases, we'll also add an additional pump so that we've got a pump dedicated to the biofilm filter and a pump that's used occasionally for the auxiliary filter. I'll also say that this auxiliary filter can also be employed during your 4th of July party. When you've got 20 soccer ballers in your backyard, in your pool, when you've got your whatever, heavy bathing load environment, there's no such thing as too much filtration. So in kinds of heavy bather load demand, turn the auxiliary filter on, and it will at least help encourage to remove suspended matter that may be gathering in the water otherwise. The biofilm filter, again, it's going to run 24/7. Auxiliary filter just kind of runs as needed or when you want to clean the pool. Here's another orientation, different way to orient the biofilm filter in a single file as opposed to tandem rows of 2. That can also be bent around the corner to where it's like L-shaped. So again, don't get hung up on that. We will help in the design process to identify the best and most efficient use and installation of the system. From a standpoint of planning and design, this is kind of a typical design rendering. This is a 16 by 36 rectilinear pool. It's got a deep end bench across here. It's 7 feet deep in water depth. This is not a diving pool. If it were a diving pool, it would have to be down to about 8 feet. And depending on, I'd encourage 8.5 feet. And as a result, these slopes change. And this is what I was referring to earlier about designing the slopes and depths according to regulations and engineering accepted in the swimming pool industry. And it's intended to make sure that the water environment is safe. Steps in the deep end, and here's our biological filter, the biofilm filter here on the end. We've got another picture of this project in construction. This particular pool is a panel wall construction. I can construct this same pool out of a gunite pool. It could be a fiberglass pool, though it's tough to get a pool, fiberglass pool this big. This particular pool interior is a pool hide, 60 mil, reinforced PVC membrane. We love using this material, very long-lived, very durable, darn near bulletproof, definitely dog-proof. Dogs are not going to rip or tear it. And the difference between this type of liner system and say a standard regular pool industry liner is that these particular type of liners, these are all hand welded on the site to conform to the inside dimensions of what's been designed in the pool. So the material arrives on the site like a roll of carpet, and it's peeled off in lines and then welded together in a customized manner. The floor is a firm composition of vermiculite and concrete. But like I said, this is just one method for construction. It's just a great way of demonstrating how this integration of the biofilm filter, in this case, this is a dual biofilm vault. It's 580 square feet of swimming area. If you're taking notes, you can refer back and say, oh, wait a minute, a single biofilm filter is up to 535 square feet. So in this case, because they do have dogs and do want to entertain a lot, We say, well, let's just double the size of the filter. So that's what this represents. This is the pool in another phase of construction. You can see the tops of the filter tubes. These are rubber and removable. If I were to remove that, you'd see the top of that green foam sponge, filter sponge that's down inside it. And that vault goes down approximately 6 feet deep, 5 feet 9 inches from top to bottom. The pool is not yet finished filling up, and it will actually be filled up with about another 6 to 8 inches of water. So that you can see these are all below the normal water level of the pool. You can also see that I've got 2 other skimmers here. This is to feed the auxiliary filter system that'll also be a part. So this system will have 2 pumps, one for running the biofilm filter, one for running the auxiliary filter. We routinely get the question, well, I really like that concept of the biofilm filter because it's less space, it's less complex, less money, but I really do like the plants too. Is there any way I can get plants incorporated into a design with the biofilm filter? Oh, the short answer is yes. So the longer answer is maybe. Because see, understand the biofilm filter, because the water is moving so much more rapidly through that system than what is typically acceptable for a pond environment, the biofilm is going to outcompete any plants for the nutrients in the water, and as a result, the plants will not thrive. They might grow, they may cripple along, but it's not the best environment trying to incorporate plants in the same body of water in which we're using a biofilm filter. They'll just starve to death. In this particular case, we just designed a pond adjacent to the pool. We've done this in a lot of different ways. This looks a little bit more segregated, but you can see on the side here, they've got a koi pond. And this is the only environment in which we would allow or suggest to include koi, because it's an isolated environment. These are 2 different bodies of water. This body of water with the biofilm filter and the swimming area that you see here is one isolated circulation system. The ornamental pond just outside of that is its own ornamental pond, ornamental aquatic garden pond. And you can plant in there whatever you like. So we can work with designs to incorporate a natural pond-like look, but operate in separate systems. So the uneducated observer, in some cases, looking at these designs, they would not know that it's 2 separate systems, but it is accomplished just through isolating the hydraulics and treating them as 2 separate bodies of water. I'm going to scan through. I'm coming up to the end. I want to get to a point where you can have time for some questions that you can ask. Lighting is another feature and function that I think you should consider. You notice this is a biofilm pool. The biofilm filter on this system runs the entire side of this pool. You can tell also by the mountains, we ain't in Kansas anymore. This is one of our partners in Austria that constructed this pool. Another installation, another small patio pool. We've got a lot of opportunity to create small plunge pools using biofilm systems. This is actually a preform one-piece fiberglass pool that has an adapted biofilm filter on the end. You can see it's a vault with a modular top. The decking can lift up so we can service it when needed. But another example of how these installations can vary widely. We saw an example of this pool a little bit earlier. You want I'm guessing that the rock work on this pool cost more than the pool itself. But again, to point out, there's really nothing beyond our capabilities. If you can think it and dream it and afford it, we can build it. It's that simple. Again, biofilm filter underneath the wooden platform here. Another example, simple installation. This, as a matter of fact, this very simple, this is about a 12 by 24 pool. A great design. If you're looking for just something to soak in, float in, cool off in, you don't need a lot of water to do that. a 12 by 24 pool built with a biofilm filter is going to be a very inexpensive way to get into the natural swimming pool environment. I'm going to talk about some of the cost-related things in a general point in just a little bit. Again, a great way to accentuate. We also know that the pool usually is just part of the overall outdoor living space you're trying to create. It's kind of a good idea if we know at the beginning, kind of like Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. If you've got a master plan of how you want this area to be used in the future, whether it's a pergola, outdoor kitchen, fire pit, volleyball court, whatever, if we know as much about how this whole area is going to be used, then it really does help in us manage and design the pool so that it gives you the best and optimum use of the area without trying to think of, okay, well, the pool is one project, then the outdoor living space is another. No, it needs to be thought of as a one big comprehensive project. It doesn't need to be accomplished all at once, but if we know some of these things in advance, then we can do things like maybe running conduit, plumbing lines, foundation pillars. When we've got the yard in such a mess at the very beginning, might as well get that all done at one point. So when you're ready to go into the next phase, it just makes it a little easier. So what's it going to cost? From our standpoint, a brand new bio pool of about 535 square feet, it's going to be about $75,000. The bio swim pond, using the wetlands regeneration sedimentation filter, since it's a much larger footprint, it averages about $120,000. Conversions, yes, we do conversions, and we've been doing more and more of them, where folks have an existing swimming pool and want to convert them to a natural pool. Well, the easiest way to do that is to add a biofilm filter, and I've got a slide here in a second to show how that can slice out. We can also take an existing swimming pool and add a wetland sedimentation filter to create a pond. So that's all in play as well. It's just, we need to know kind of what you got in mind and how you intend to use it. So the way we get involved is, let's discuss your project. Find out what it is about yours. We collaborate on the best design. That's usually initiated by a conversation. Many of those conversations start like this on Zoom. Very helpful to be able to show and demonstrate. I like seeing satellite views of the plot. If you have renderings or designs that you want to share and show what it is that you've captured from Pinterest or Houzz or some other web search of styles that you like, it's a great environment to be able to share and collaborate. Ultimately, once we get engaged, we're engaged through a pre-construction planning process, we'll need a topographic survey. The topo survey gives us a good lay of the land to understand and mitigate any surface water, establish a good finish elevation for the swimming pool, and pictures of the site. If you're close and located to where one of our crews or dealers would be, then we'd be scheduling an on-site site visit to put boots on the ground and take a look at the all of them, where the equipment's going to go, where the utilities come in, if there's any features or part of your house or patio that you want to blend into or incorporate or transition to the pool from. It gives us a good opportunity to do that. However, I do want to point out that because the construction method for a NSP is no different than a regular swimming pool, if you're not in an area where we have a BioNova dealer, we just need to collaborate with a pool contractor. So any good pool contractor, if you have a neighbor that was satisfied with a pool contractor, I told you, I've been in the pool industry all my life. I know a lot of pool contractors throughout the country, and we can help get them engaged in the process. And typically, if you were to go to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about installing a natural swimming pool, do you build natural swimming pools? The answer is going to be no, because they don't. But that's not a good question. You just need to find out if they're a good, reputable contractor, and would they be willing to collaborate with us to integrate a biological filter into their design. And in that case, they can do the design and layout of the pool and area. They can pull the permit And then we can make sure that the biological filter that's installed and incorporated as a part of their design is appropriate for that function and use. We need to have some of our own boots on the ground to collaborate and consult on site during construction. We can arrange to do that. But the real issue is, don't get hung up on the fact, oh, there's nobody in my area that builds a natural pool. That's not the obstacle. The obstacle is just finding a good, reputable contractor that you're willing to work with and that would be willing to work with us.